So there is an America First rally with Gaetz and Green, attorneys at like. And I have a question for all of you guys. I'm going to play a little clip of this video. They're not on stage yet. This is a live thing. So, and I want you to see if you notice this much. I'm going to turn the sound off on this. Is everybody that contributes to Right Side Broadcast named Dawn? Seriously, are we just going to change the name of Karens to Dawns? For Christ's sake, look at that. Dawn to dawn, dawn, dawn to dawn, 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 dawns and dawns. What is happening? What is that? How is that even statistically possible? One good Karen, wants that. Yeah, I'm now calling them Dawns. We got a Dawn. It's Dawn. Did you hear My Pillow guy was turned away from the GOP convention? Oh, yeah. They don't want him anywhere near it. Dawn to dawn, dawn, dawn. Look at this. Now we're into the Danas. And how many multiple Danas are they spelled? D-A-Y-N-A, D-A-Y-N-A. Why are they all? I mean, that's a lot of Dawns. That's ridiculous. And by the way, they're late for their own event. But hey, there's concessions, there's snacks and food. This lady is obviously covering it for HuffPost and is just glad to be wearing a mask. Anybody with a mask on is a cloaked journalist just covering it for college media. There were guys up front. I don't know if we'll see those guys in a second because it's they're just waiting. We'll just jump ahead. I got an American flag thing with 2 guns, cross on the front. Who's that nobody right now? And the restaurants are just for men and women's. I brought my wife's second son. That's not mine. There we go. Oh, somebody's coming out. Oh, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, look at this. Please stand. Look at this shit. Please tell me they announced.
The Right View is at The Right View.
Oh, yeah, they just announced it.
Go leave Laura Trump some comments on her very last post and let her know that she is welcome from the RSBN fam, that RSBN loves her. Help me welcome her. Now we've got to welcome Congressman Matt Gaetz, who's currently taking...
Look at all these identical signs.
...the stage.
This is so grassroots. It makes my heart swell.
Again, Matt Gaetz is taking the stage here in Dalton, Georgia. He's going to open up tonight's rally and then hand it off over to Marjorie Taylor Greene. So you've got...
Oh, so they're taking turns opening for each other. Jesus, that's loud.
Incredible hour and a half of programming coming up right now, and
oh, it's going to be gory. It's going to be gore. It's a gory fest. It's going to be horrible.
I'm going to hand it over to him.
Americans, to the greatest political show on earth.
Hey, asshole! That's a quote from Ringling Brothers about the circus, and from the guy that said there's a sucker born every minute. This guy is like the low-calorie version of Bob Roberts.
We are the Republican Party.
Yeah, you look like it. You actually look like a school auditorium full of folding chairs, but I'll take your word for it.
There's not like a more coiffed Republican Party that's going to be
more coiffed?
flying off the Romney family ski slopes. There's not.
Yes, please shit on other Republicans. I'm for this. How can I buy one of these shirts? Like, this asshole's making me want to buy their merch just to see them destroy the Republican Party.
It's going to be an anti-Trump Republican Party that crawls out of Meghan McCain's mouth on the
Whoa.
View. We're not going to be able to shake the Bush family tree again and hope that a version of compassionate conservatism falls out.
Yeah, who wants that?
This is Donald Trump's party, and I'm a Donald Trump Republican.
Please, I know I want to say try harder, but could he possibly?
Isn't it obvious to the establishment and the America Last media right now?
I have to say, I'm digging the whole, like, bro, neck bob.
It's our ideas, America First, that fills the stadiums and
Well, I mean, it really fills the stadiums, does it? Does it really? Fills the stadiums. Hold on one second. Let me I need to look at this stadium real quick. We'll get back to where he is. Second, here we go. Let's yeah, it's not so much a stadium. It's a compact stadium. Come on, cut the guy some slack. It's a micro stadium.
to the greatest political...
Oh, yeah, we saw that part right.
A more coiffed Republican...
Yeah, coiffed right.
There's not going to be a anti-Trump Republican...
All right.
It's Donald Trump's party.
Yeah. Okay, that's where we are. We're back. Douchey fist. Hand job, hand job.
Isn't it obvious to the establishment
that you are here as a wrecking ball that will do no damage to the Democratic Party? None.
and the America Last media right now? It's our ideas, America First, that fills the stadiums and the halls and the ballrooms and the
empty school gymnasiums.
prairies all across this
Prairies?
stadiums and the halls and the ballrooms and the prairies all across
The prairies. I didn't realize there were the next. Please cut to him in a prairie. Just fucking with meerkats with MAGA hats on, just
across this great land.
prairies. Notice he did not mention school gymnasiums. I feel like that's a slam at his audience. You don't do that to these people.
We're not going back to the days of the Bushes and the McCains and the Romneys.
Yeah, so you said.
Our way, America First, is the way forward for America.
Dalton, Georgia, you and Joel Greenberg brought some guests the last time you were in Georgia. Are you flying solo this time? No wingman or
In the swamp
fucking prairies. I'm gonna
of Washington, D.C.
Yeah, prairies always preferable to swamps.
Marjorie Taylor Greene and I might not be considered the most powerful by the metrics they use.
You mean the measurements of actual power?
We don't have the big fancy titles, the chair.
You don't have the respect or the responsibilities they give to adults.
The extended offices, all the
The extended offices.
trappings, but we have a power that they can never take away.
Yes, the prairie power.
And it is directly tied to fighting for you, advancing your interests, battling your dislikes,
Battling your dislikes? Oh my God.
and ensuring that
Battling your dislikes? Do you have to have a ball removed to use a phrase that weak? Battling your dislikes. I will punch your thumbs down on Facebook. I will punch it right in the dick. Battling your dislikes.
that the government that we have and the party that we have is worthy of the great people of the greatest country in all the land.
Israel? I just wanted to clarify. I don't think he means America most of the time, so.
As we gathered
Where was I? Oh, yes.
tonight, Paul Ryan is giving a speech in California.
Where lots of people are showing up and money is being raised to elect Republicans. Boo. I'm with you on that, Matt. Boo. Boo, Paul Ryan. Boo. See, there's bipartisanship that's possible.
Taking advice on party building from Paul Ryan would be like taking advice on how to interact with your in-laws from Meghan Markle.
interact with your in-laws? God damn it. We're in for just analogy hell, aren't we? Like, I mean, if we found a linguistic weakness in this crowd besides grammar and cohesive arguments, it's in the analogy simile hell. Like, it's all right.
After
Bro!
Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan lost, the Republican Party was in such bad shape.
Mitt Romney won. I mean, he's still in the Senate. I mean, he lost the presidency, sure, but then so did Trump. So they're 1 for 1, I guess.
It literally needed an autopsy. You do an autopsy on things that aren't alive anymore. America first, we need no autopsy. This is
No, of course not. You need a, probably, what do you get for, is it that syringe they jam into your chest in Pulp Fiction?
a red-blooded American movement that is alive and well and pulsing and fighting and
Pulsing. Throbbing. And Venmoing.
ensuring that the best days for this country still lie ahead.
Well, yeah, Biden said that. I mean, a lot of people believe that, myself included, that that history is always trying to improve on itself. There are setbacks along the way, but the idea is we're getting better all the time. I mean, that's literally what Biden ran on and won on. Yeah, Narcan. That's what they need. Pulsing. Fuck off.
Paul Ryan is
Who gives a fuck about Paul Ryan? Honest to God. Paul Ryan's not even in office anymore. Seriously.
almost singularly responsible for us still having Obamacare.
Oh yeah, is he?
I mean, when we took the majority, when Trump won the White House, gosh, we thought, well, we'd pass a repeal of Obamacare. We would fulfill the commitment that we made to our people. And then political committees closely aligned to Paul Ryan took millions and millions of dollars from HMOs and other health providers,
and listen to the voters in their own districts who would fucking die without it.
businesses. And then they wrote the bills that didn't repeal Obamacare, but would have kept Obamacare. And then the people didn't understand what we were doing. We lost momentum. We lost the commitment that we made to our fellow.
Well, maybe it was that actually you were lying about what you were intending to do. You were saying we're going to repeal this. It's terrible. It's the worst thing ever. It's socialism. It's worse than the status quo. It's destructive. It's going to drive up costs. And when it did none of those things, and it was none of those things, and when you legislated based on the reality of it, not the hyperbole of it, but continued speaking the hyperbole of it, then you look like you're full of shit. That's that. Can I turn it up? Oh, sorry. Yes. I'll see if I can turn it up over here. Let's see.
Our fellow Americans, and ultimately.
Yeah, it is kind of low. I don't know why that is. Hold on. They're kind of hit and miss with their audio on these things sometimes. It's driving me crazy. Okay, that's on Google Chrome. So I'm gonna have to go over here, go to filters, take this over here, bring this up a touch, not talk too loud, bring my own voice down a little bit so I'm not too terribly loud, and then hopefully this will enter into the zone of, okay, all right, there we go.
We lost the majority as a consequence of the bad decisions that Paul Ryan made. The way forward is not a repackaged version of Paul Ryan's better way. And
oh,
it's
no.
certainly not the Green New Deal and the socialist way. No, this is not a movement of cult of personality, though it is nice to actually have representatives who have some personality. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's kind of nice.
Define personality. Because, call me crazy, but I don't consider a rape kit with ecstasy in it a personality trait.
I think America's greatest president had personality.
I agree. I mean, just reading about George Washington, he just sounded like he'd be a dude to hang with. I'm kidding. Of course, Obama's really fun.
But we are the party of big ideas, of exciting reforms that can ensure renewed generations of American greatness. We believe that trade deals ought to actually benefit Main Street, not just Wall Street.
Please get into garbage populism now.
We believe that money from hardworking Americans shouldn't be sent abroad in foreign aid to countries that hate us.
Yeah, Israel's been a little rude lately. Just kidding.
We believe our military should be strong, capable to vanquish any foe and win
And never sent anywhere, especially places like Rwanda.
any battle. But we do not believe that we should be in forever wars.
No one believes we should be in forever wars. This is not even an argument.
Unknowable gain.
No one is running on forever wars. Not a single person.
In faraway lands, thinking that we can convert barbaric places.
Oh shit. Okay, barbaric places. We're going beyond shithole countries now. Yeah, so women and children who are in places that he deems barbaric, you're on your own. Yeah, America's not going to help. No. Yeah, it's up to you. Sorry, we're just going to sit back here and watch. No. If you're getting shot on the school bus, and it's not our business. I mean, we're not going to send any our decent, hardworking young men over there to help you. If God loved you, you wouldn't have been born in a barbaric place. I mean, that's clear.
Into Jeffersonian-style democracies. We believe that nation building starts at home, and pardon me if I'd rather rebuild America than rebuild Kandahar.
He's voting against the infrastructure bill, for the record, in all its forms. He will not vote for a compromise bill. He will not vote for Biden's bill. He would not vote for the Republican version that, if we just took what the Republicans were offering, just sight unseen, said yes to it, he wouldn't vote for it. Just for the record, just to clarify unless I'm just not aware that there's like a Kandahar, Georgia. Yeah, buddy, stand up and show off your shirt. USA can't have infrastructure. USA doesn't deserve health care. USA.
That's right, and the best way to inspire the world is not to be the world's piggy bank or the world's policeman. The best way to inspire the world is to be the best version of ourselves, to be a shining and splendid example of what can go right when we make...
Yeah, I mean, let's say you're a young, up and coming sex trafficker, and you're trying to work your way up the cartel ladder, and you're just like, I don't know if I've got what it takes to be the next level the sex trafficker that I could possibly be. But look at America, where even a young man like myself who has dreams of being a child sex trafficker can have a seat in the House of Representatives. America truly is the greatest country in the world.
We make sound decisions when we have sound money. You see,
sound money.
Joe Biden just released his $6 trillion budget. Printing more money does not make you stronger. If it did, Zimbabwe would be the biggest power in the world.
They don't understand that Zimbabwe say Venezuela, they'll cheer. They won't even understand it, but Zimbabwe's not going to work. They're just going to go, oh shit, he's talking about an African country because he's a racist bastard. Just say Venezuela. Just anytime you need a country, just say Venezuela or China.
We think...
By the way, China prints all their own money. They devalued their currency on purpose by overprinting money and flooding the market with it so that the tariffs they paid to Trump didn't mean anything to their bottom line. Just say.
Enough of U.S. citizenship that we do not believe it should be given to people who do not come to our country legally. We believe in border security. We believe in...
Then sign on to then co-sponsor the comprehensive immigration bill. It covers all those things.
In internal enforcement of our immigration laws. So if people are not here legally, they don't get to stay. They go back to their home country and then wait in line like anyone else would be expected.
Yeah, that happens the vast majority of the time. Unless they have immigration, they have asylum claims that are proper and they get vetted and it takes time, or they are an unaccompanied minor. And I mean a real unaccompanied minor, a child by themselves walking through the desert into America, as opposed to the fake unaccompanied minors that were created by the Trump administration by taking whole families and separating the children from them, and therefore the children became forcibly unaccompanied.
Expected to do. We believe that every veteran in America ought to have health care and benefits just as good as any member of Congress. Veterans built this country. They show an elite level of patriotism. We believe. So
is that why you showed up at, all the folks that are here showed up at John Kerry's campaign events and with purple Band-Aids on to mock his Purple Heart? Is that, it's different.
Believe that lockdowns are insane. And that critical race theory, something that teaches us to hate one another based on our identity, should be defunded, abolished, out of our schools, out of our military, and out of our country forever.
And by critical race theory, I don't mean actual critical race theory. I mean any diversity training at all. If you just try to have a thing where you help people from different cultures who might not understand that they're being homophobic or bigoted towards people, and they just kind of talk because that's the way we talk, man. And you go, hey, you can't talk like that because it hurts people's feelings. You may not. That's not a big, it's not a big deal, that word with you and your buddies, but you don't say it here. That's to him, that's critical race theory. Yes, the word is veteran, not veterans. Agreed.
And so if you believe.
By the way, this is a paid campaign event, so it's a fundraising campaign event for the two of them. They're just basically taking their campaign fundraising nationwide.
Like we do, that America is a wonderful place, not an intractably racist country.
I don't believe that. I believe America is a wonderful place. It's not intractably racist. And one of the things that proves it's not intractably racist is that we can deal with the racism that's existed and get rid of it and make sure that the American dream is available to everybody. See, I actually believe in that, as opposed to, well, I don't believe America's intractably racist. Well, then good. Then don't worry about it. If we just make sure that everybody's got equal opportunities, then that doesn't interfere. That doesn't even encroach on your belief system. Just leave it be. If it turns out not to be true, then it won't change anything, right? You know what I mean? If you offer scholarships to people that need them based on race or gender identity, for example, and it doesn't change the roles in any of the schools, you'll know, well, everybody was already covered. But if you see a lot more people going to college that didn't otherwise have the opportunity, for example, or getting jobs that didn't otherwise have the opportunity, then you might notice, oh, maybe there was something that was stiff-arming them that didn't stiff-arm me, right? And if you think you're awesome, who gives a shit if somebody else gets a head start? You know how many people that were born richer than me that I've lapped in my life? That I have outrun? That I have outperformed? I could have griped about the fact that they were born with more resources. Some of you even know the story of like when my dad would ground me from doing stand-up, and I'd have $5 to go to auditions. And that's it. It was $1.25 on the train down and $1.25 on the train back. I had enough for a bottle of water and a 5-block cab ride if I was going to be late. That was it. And that was my whole 6-hour day, basically. that I would go down into Chicago, go to the 3 or 4 places where there'd be auditions. They'd all basically be in a couple of days of the week. So I would kind of plot those out. And I would always see these rich kids with their parents driving them in air-conditioned comfort to all these interviews. And they were always bitching and moaning and like, and I was like, I was sweaty. Especially in the summer, when I was off from school and I would go and do these auditions. And I would go to one after the other, and I just knew I was grinding. I knew I was paying my dues. I knew you don't get anywhere unless you go through this part of it. So I was just happy at every time. Like, I would go to these auditions, and they would suck, and I'd be wrong for them, and I wouldn't get something. And then, every so often, something would line up, and I'm like, okay, this is the right role for me. It matches who I am. I can bring something extra to it because I can improv or I'm funny, and that would be the thing that would break through. But like most auditions are like going to job fairs where everybody lines up. You're not going to get 89% of them, no matter what you do. You may even get less, but that's you could just count on those not happening for hundreds of reasons. And these kids would sit there and like, I don't know. Kids like Matt Gaetz. I grinded the fuck out of my high school years, especially, and the 2 years after that. I mean, you guys know I called the 90s the Sisyphus years as an actor. Like, go back and find the shit I did in the 90s. It's there. Before Talk Soup, it's there. I'd get a series, it'd go away. I'd get a movie, it wouldn't get made. Like, shit happened just every time. But always doing a show, always pitching, always working. Worked as a producer for Disney, doing Umba Macumba on the sly. I was a second-tier producer. Found out the producer of that show was actually stealing my content and telling Disney that they were the ones who made it and just paying me like $500 a spot for pieces of programming that I was delivering that they were getting $8,000 for minimum. And you know what my answer to that is, as bad as it was? Good. That's what it takes. That's what it takes. That's what gave me the career I got. That's what the thing that would have stopped me would have been letting it stop me. Would have been getting mad about that shit and stopping. But this asshole thinks that Hollywood is some sort of tapped on the shoulder thing, or he thinks that like even politicians that in the swamp in Washington that run for office, people like AOC who door knocked in she went to every door in her district. AOC won in 2 districts in the same race. This asshole's dad was an elected official in Florida. That's why he's in the position he's in. He ran on name recognition from his dad's name. No wonder he's a Trumper.
If you believe that MAGA is inviting and patriotic, not deplorable, if you stand for the flag and kneel in prayer, if you want to build America up and not burn her to the ground, then welcome, my fellow patriots. You are in the right place.
Yeah, but see, I do all those things and I fucking hate your guts. I think you're a creep. I stand for the flag. I kneel in prayer. I mean, that makes sense, right? But I find everything about their movement morally reprehensible. Because it might just be that this is a fucking mask.
This is the movement for you. You belong here.
Hey, this is definitely the movement.
Joining our rallies. Being a part of our digital army, sharing content, liking posts, making sure that the truth
liking posts
gets out. We need you donating to our campaign.
We need you donating. There it is. There's the ask. Folks, this asshole might as well be selling covers for your gutters. Folks, I need you to know that climbing up a ladder. Sorry, when I do his head bob with my long hair, I look like Theodore S. Preston.
Proud to tell you that there are only 2 Republicans in the House of Representatives that do not take corporate PAC money, Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, but that's because they're not giving it to you. You'd take it if they would, just no one is giving you that money. That's why you're out with your fucking hat in your hand going to these like psycho districts raising money. You are our corporate PAC is effectively what he's saying.
We don't work for them. We work for you. I remember one.
No, you don't. You're from Florida. You're in Georgia.
One time, Paul Ryan bragged to all
Paul Ryan, fucking hell.
of us about how every night during his dinners, he had to go raise $250,000 from lobbyists and special interests in order to fund the party apparatus. How can politicians take hundreds of thousands of dollars from these PACs and lobbyists and then pretend that they're not influenced by it?
Yeah, right. Go after the NRA. I can't wait. So tell us all about how the NRA is basically a lobbying group for gun manufacturers, dumps guns on the streets of all the major cities, and which causes a spike in crime and also scares people into purchasing more guns, and then also puts up this bullshit that your guns are going to be seized by the government, and that causes the purchase of more guns, and that the Republican Party was funneled Russian money through the NRA. And how can you not be on the hook to Russia if you know that they gave that money to you through the NRA? And how do you not know that if I know that?
By that. You see, I think that instead of Republicans going on bended knee and begging the woke corporations to love us a little more,
I'm sorry, does the NRA represent woke corporations?
let's actually fight for the working people of this country. If the Democrats want the woke big businesses, they can have them. I'll take the men and women who go to work, who earn a fair wage, who follow the rules, and who want America to be better for our...
Just for the record, not fucking children is one of the rules. I don't know if he's just... I just want to put a pin in that. If I could, can I... That's a rule. And it should be a rule, and it should stay a rule. I'm for that rule, and I'm with Chris Hansen on that rule. I think, really. I mean, because if there was a committee on how many wine coolers, how much tarp, and how much duct tape you should have in the trunk of your car, he would be the chairman.
Grilled children and grandchildren not to surrender to the woke-topians.
Woke-topians. Adorable. Where was I?
In this fight back, we are not powerless. This is a powerful movement. We are...
Sure. Yeah, it's a very powerful movement. Mm-hmm.
Powerful people.
Yeah, you're powerful people. Look at this school auditorium you filled with folding chairs.
As President Trump reminds us, we are the elite now. And so let us use...
Based on what standards?
The Constitution to strengthen our argument and our movement. We have a First Amendment right to speak and assemble, and we better use it.
Yeah. You should, use it in every unused high school gymnasium in America.
The internet's hall monitors out in Silicon Valley, they think they can suppress us, discourage us.
And they have. It's working. I mean, you're on Right Side Broadcasting is the only person covering this besides me. And I don't think I'm the coverage you're looking for.
Maybe if you're just a little less patriotic.
Is that what it is? Is it patriotism? Or is it anti-vax nonsense and the big lie?
Maybe if you just conform to their way of thinking a little more.
Maybe if you just show me a fucking picture of the Hunter Biden laptop. How about that? Just a picture of it. And just an image, a still image. Something off of Rudy Giuliani's phone. Something. I want to see it. Not that you don't have to show me the whole contents, because I don't believe it exists. But before you apparently take all 3 of those hard drives and post their contents, hard drives that apparently are not in a laptop and were copied from a laptop, but that contain child porn, allegedly, according to Rudy Giuliani, and therefore Rudy Giuliani is copying and disseminating child porn for political blackmail. I don't know how else to describe it. Meanwhile, you're in league with this stuff, and just show me a picture of that. Show me the part.
More that you'll be allowed to participate in the digital world. Well, you know what? Silicon Valley can't cancel this movement.
Well, it's kind of pre-canceled, isn't it? I mean, you're in a high school. Dude, I fill comedy clubs bigger than that easily and people pay to come in. This is free. This is a free event. All these people have nothing better to do. They literally don't. Nothing is impressive about filling a place like this, that size, with Trump cultists. None.
Or this rally, or this congressman. We have a Second Amendment in this country, and I think we have an obligation to use it.
Use it for what? No, you don't have an obligation to use it. You have an option to use it. That's what freedom is. And so basically, you're saying that everybody in the MAGA movement needs to be armed. For what purpose, Matt? Who are you going to kill? Who amongst your fellow American citizens are you going to kill? Are you going to do it based on kneeling, or what are the parameters of the maggots in this little folding chair gathering, this mini revival of yours? What's the ready aim fire on them shooting their fellow Americans? What is it?
The Second Amendment, this is a little history lesson.
Oh boy, here we go. Everybody got your pen and paper out? We're going to take notes.
For all the fake news media, the Second Amendment.
What fake news media? The only people that are covering this are people that like you and me. Guess. I mean, maybe he's talking to me. Okay, so as the fake news media, I'm about to get a lesson in the Second Amendment. Let's hear it.
Amendment is not about hunting.
Nope, it's not about hunting.
It's not about recreation.
It's not about recreation. So if you have guns for hunting or recreation, they are not protected by the Second Amendment. Thanks, Matt. So I guess we go and confiscate all the guns that people say they're just for fun and I like to shoot them. That's not what they're for. So you have to, the only reason you have a Second Amendment is for what?
It's not about sports.
It's not about sports. So if you have guns for hunting, sports, or recreation, you do not have a right to those weapons, according to Matt Gaetz. This is not exactly the lesson they were hoping for.
The Second Amendment is about maintaining within the citizenry.
Maintaining within the citizenry, yes.
The ability to maintain an armed rebellion against.
I beg your pardon? Maintain an armed rebellion against the what?
The government, if that becomes necessary.
Okay, so Matt Gaetz is saying the only constitutionally protected reason for having guns is to shoot your fellow Americans if you don't like the way the government is going. So I don't know which National Guards people or police or military or FBI or the ATF people or even ICE for that matter who come to your door. The only real reason you can own a gun, according to Matt Gaetz, is so that you can murder your own citizens because you disagree with them politically. And, oh, by the way, and if you have guns for recreation, sport, or hunting, you don't have a right to those. That's not a God-given right. So if the tyrannical government wants to come and get those guns, totally fine. You only are allowed to have weapons that you can use to fight back against the government, the tyrannical government, which, considering the size of the government, means that, according to Matt Gaetz, you're not allowed to have AR-15s because those are sport and recreation guns. And you're not allowed to have hunting rifles or shotguns because you can use those to hunt with and that kind of stuff. But you can have tanks and anti-aircraft weapons. Is that God damn, this is dumb.
I hope it never does.
But if it does, I'll be in the back hiding behind you guys.
But it sure is important to recognize the founding principles of this nation and to make sure that they are fully understood.
By the way, no. To fight against tyranny is one of the ideas, I guess, that they talk about in the Federalist Papers and that kind of stuff. But in terms of having a well-regulated militia, that is not to fight back against the American government. At that point, they were dealing with the fact that England might try to take the country again. And War of 1812, anyone? They did. That's the point, is that in case another, because we didn't have enough money to have a standing army at that point. So the idea is like the Kentucky militia members who fought the Redcoats, that's one of the ways we won the Revolutionary War. And they went, yeah, we're going to need those guys to be allowed to maintain their weapons in case the Brits come back. That's what that was about. Not so that you can storm the Capitol and shoot cops because you're mad that the ACA wasn't overturned, or you think there are tunnels full of kids hooked up to Matrix-level battery spine juice sucking machines making adrenochrome that's available in the coffee shop of the Senate.
Oh, they hate that. That'll be the part that gets me like kicked off YouTube, right?
No, you'll still be on YouTube. You're allowed to say that, even though it's obviously, I mean, this is what he's trying to do. He's trying to get censored. He's trying, because censored is his version of, it's like the lowest rung of people giving a shit about what you say. And he thinks getting, that kind of, and by the way, it's not, it's still up. It's going to be up.
Talking about our rights and our freedoms.
Is it really? Is it just talking about our rights and our freedoms? Just discussing our rights and our freedoms? Or saying that the only reason we have a Second Amendment, you heard him, the only reason we have a Second Amendment is so that we can open fire on our own government. And meanwhile, NRA, why you don't have a problem with this dipshit, I don't understand, but all sports, recreation, and hunting guns are not protected by the Constitution. Seriously. I mean, there's, how dumb this dumb?
Have you seen who Joe Biden wants to put in as the head of ATF? This is someone who has dedicated their career to depriving law-abiding citizens of their access to rights.
Really? Isn't that what you think the ATF does? I have a God-given right to grow tobacco, make explosives, have some guns, and get drunk. Come on now.
Gun control is not going to deter the criminals.
No, it's going to lower the amount of guns they have access to. Law-abiding gun owners won't have a problem getting guns. They won't at all. And if you go, well, I don't believe in all this shit, but I guarantee you put through a really strong straw purchase law tomorrow, it'll pass. The only people who vote against it in the Senate, more than likely Rand Paul and some rando that just has a problem with the wording.
And where I come from in North Florida and where you come from in Georgia, gun control just means we have a steady aim.
This fucker can't shoot. Let's go to the range, buddy. Seriously. Let's line them up. We'll get some, targets you're choosing. Let's do one of the John Wick courses. I'll do it with you. Steady aim. Dude, steady aim does not mean nailing a hooker in the eye. Man, that was not a gun reference in case you weren't following along with the other story on this dude.
We have a right to be free of unreasonable search and seizure in this country.
Oh, yeah? What's unreasonable? Looking at your buddy who pled guilty to 33 counts, including child sex trafficking? Looking at his phone? What's unreasonable search and seizure?
This country, and
what happened to Rudy?
Better protect it.
It was very dirty, Gwen. It's true.
For anyone who thinks that the deep state is not real, if they think you're a conspiracy theorist.
No, I don't think you're a conspiracy theorist. I think you're a charlatan and a dipshit. I don't think you have the mental capacity to hold all the inner workings of a conspiracy theory in your head. I think there's probably some people in that audience that the inside of their head looks like somebody who's been following the Zodiac for 30 years in terms of conspiracy theories. You, on the other hand, are just a grifter.
Just think about the things we've already seen.
Yeah, let's see it. Tell us what he's going to tell us. An
FBI lawyer literally changed evidence.
so that Carter Page wouldn't get another search warrant or a wiretap. The changes that dude made it less likely that Carter Page's warrant would continue. And it still did because of all the other evidence.
Before a secret court because they thought it would help them go after President Trump.
Wrong. It actually went lighter on Carter Page. P.S. Fuck Carter Page.
The director of national intelligence under Obama stood up and said, oh no, we're not collecting data on mass scale from Americans.
They're not. The skimming that they do doesn't collect it. It basically, it's like a fish net. It only collects the stuff that stops. If it doesn't turn out to be anything, they don't keep it, they let it wash through. It's like a pre-18-year-old getting arrested for something and it getting expunged from your record. They don't collect it. Now, what was it? The whole truth and completely like, we don't even look? No. But did they collect it? No. They do not keep it. They do not, when you're around the Capitol and there's an attack going on and the Capitol is under siege and they are taking everybody's phone numbers in that area and they're seeing all the texts that are flying because they're turning off all the encryptions in those areas because they're like, where is the next bomber going? Who has got a gun on them? Who is saying I'm ready to kill someone? Who built the gallows? All that shit. They need to know that stuff, and it's an extreme circumstance like 9/11. After that, they let all the stuff go. Do you know how hard it is for them to keep your shit and where they would store it and for what reason?
Turns out they were collecting data en masse.
No, they weren't. They were looking at data en masse. They were not collecting it. They don't keep it.
From our fellow Americans.
Bullshit.
And how about that traitor Jim Comey?
That traitor? Trader?
Jim Comey lied and leaked, and he used the...
You can't leak a lie. You can't leak a lie. That's just lying. If you leak something, then it's true. So everything that you think he leaked is true. Good to know. Okay, cool.
FBI as a mechanism to accomplish politics.
Yeah, I would say that's true in terms of when he came out against Hillary Clinton, because that investigation turned out to be bullshit.
The deep state is everywhere. It is...
Really? That's your example? 3 folks? So if the deep state is everywhere, by the way, what did he lead into this deep state bullshit about this like lurking group of people who are fucking with everything and that run the government secretly within and are collecting information on Americans? What did he lead into this with? What was his lead off into this chunk in his speech, which he clearly has cards? What's the organizing principle of what he's talking about? What did he lead into this with? The Second Amendment has one purpose: stopping the tyrannical government. P.S. The deep state is the tyrannical government. It's everywhere, and they have to be stopped. I mean...
It is real. It is even at the post office.
Fucking hell. The deep state is at the post office.
The United States Post Office has an internet covert operations program.
Yeah, of course they do, fuckhead. How do you think all the fentanyl in this country gets in here? How do you think mail bombers work? How do you think they track shit when they get a bomb? Do you think they just go, oh shit, we got to start from scratch every time we get somebody mailing a bomb? The fuck are you talking about? Yes, they have a covert organization. Honest, what do you want them to do? The mail is available to everyone. There are post office boxes everywhere. It is possible to mail drugs and weapons and all kinds of shit. And when they find it, they don't want to have to go, okay, brand new warrant every single time. Let's start from scratch. No, the minute you put it in federal hands for use in the mail, then it is under certain guidelines that you're not supposed to mail, and that's why they have to sign off on shit. It doesn't include any drugs or flammable stuff, or is it lithium-ion batteries or any guns or any of that shit, and you write no. That's an affidavit. You are signing an oath that you are not mailing that shit. And if they find out that's in there, that's tracked with your package back to you. Now, if somebody does that under a fake name and just mails a bunch of shit, then they have to have other methods to track that stuff. Otherwise, the post office is just a constant weapon of death. And this asshole isn't against this. This is just dumb. This is all just feeding into this paranoid horseshit.
Wouldn't it be nice if the post office just delivered our mail on time and on budget without...
Yeah, and one of the ways they do that is by limiting the number of bombs and packets of fentanyl that crack open and kill everyone in a 60-foot radius.
Spying on the social media proclivities of the American people? Well, I'm for abolishing the deep state everywhere. And one...
Yeah, this fiction. Why don't you just abolish Satan while you're at it? Just keep telling us where I see Satan everywhere. But ladies and gentlemen, some of you might feel when you're walking through the park and you're standing there and then you see a bathroom and you're going, that'd be a good place to relieve myself in Jesus' name. But inside that place is a den of iniquity filled with men with horrible things on their mind that might feel enticing at the time, but are definitely going to be dangerous and to drive you into a horrible situation in your life. And the devil's in every bathroom, I tell you right now.
One place that we could certainly look is
your phone.
Office of Dr. Fauci.
The office. Okay, so this is so the office of Dr. Fauci. So look at the look on his face right now and understand that Dr. Fauci, he's about to accuse Dr. Fauci of criminal negligence and lying to the American people to increase deaths. Oh my God, that is so true. Oh my, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Fauci, cheese whiz, he's Dr. Fraudulent. Yeah, because that's not, lockdowns are worse than people going out and breathing a deadly virus on it that doesn't even exist. But if it does, China made it on purpose. And if China made it on purpose, they did it to destroy Trump. And he showed them, he sent them all of our beef and soybeans. What?
Oh, I'm so sick of him.
Yeah, no one cares. I mean, these folks do, obviously, but it's not going to change anything. He's actually got a body of work that we can weigh against his behavior that goes, oh, yeah, even when he's wrong, he means well.
Dr. Fauci is like, remember the magic...
Oh, good. This is another analogy. Guys, take notes.
8-ball, like you shake the magic 8-ball. You ask Dr. Fauci, it's like, oh, you don't have to wear a mask. Then you shake it again, and you have to wear a mask. And then you shake it again, and you have to wear 2 masks. And you shake it again, and you have to get vaccinated, but still wear a mask. Now you can get vaccinated and not wear a mask.
It's almost like you're just talking about the timeline of us actually learning about a new contagious disease. These are all best practices. At no point has Fauci or anybody at the CDC said, this is how it works and we're doing this forever. Nobody, ever.
These people have...
You like my evangelical Christian voice? Come on now, we're gonna find you down in the devil down in your soul coming up through your head.
Lost credibility with the American people because they have not been honest, because they have been trying to seize power. That's what
they're trying to seize power. Big mask.
What it's all about. That's what it's all about. Unfortunately.
What power are they seizing? The power to stop 1 million deaths?
Unfortunately, almost every agency of government that I've observed in Washington, D.C., they just want to grow larger. And to do that, they help their friends and they target their enemies.
So you're just talking about how the Republican Party works?
And we like to think that there are at least some in Washington that don't do that. But unfortunately, it is a condition that we have observed with presidents of both parties. We're still here because there's still a lot of swamp left to drain in Washington, D.C. and to get the...
There was never any swamp. Sorry, the swamp is an analogy that died a long time ago. It's just bullshit. It's like the establishment. There are these buzzword ideas that they sell as reasons to get them elected. I'm going to go up there and join the swamp by becoming an alligator.
Get the job done, we're actually going to need some fighters.
And by fighters, I mean, of course, people who are keeping and bearing guns, not for sport or recreation or target practice or hunting or any of that stuff, but just so that they can attack their fellow citizens on behalf of taking down the government when, in case they don't like zoning laws.
The Wuhan Institute of Virology. So, back in April of 2020,
Okay, this is going to be good. All right. So, back in April of 2020, here we go.
On Tucker Carlson's program and said,
Hey, remember when I had dinner with you and some woman? I think it was your wife, but she looked different. She was like, it looked like your wife, but younger. And we were eating, and remember what I said?
I don't really think it's reasonable that the Chinese are telling us that a bat somehow traversed a gazillion miles, ended up in a pangolin, then ended up in a soup, and that we shouldn't blame the Wuhan Institute of Virology for the Wuhan virus. And so we told the truth. We laid bare that we had to bring that funding back home, not send it to a place where even our own...
You took funding out of the WHO, not out of the Wuhan lab, and that was security money, which was not spent. Maybe if it was spent, we would have eyes on the ground. The fact that the Chinese weren't letting us look is part of the problem. Nobody gives a fuck if they, first of all, if it was accidental, just created, it was just natural in its own format that it came because of these mixtures, which is entirely possible. But let's just say it was just like the other ones that have broken out of that area. If it was natural, they still didn't send it here, and calling it the China virus when Wuhan is one section of a giant country, and you're basically saying that the entirety of the Chinese people are somehow in league with the accidental release of this virus on purpose by like, we'll let it spread outside the world, but we'll stop it inside our own country, which is what Trump said, which is nonsensical horseshit. And still saying, but I got a trade deal to do with them. So we're going to finish signing our trade deal, and then I'll start bitching about them. And then now shifting to this idea that it came from the lab, and it very well may have. We'll work that part of it out. But that's like saying, look, we can't treat this guy for his gunshot wound and make sure that he survives. We can't take him to the hospital until we find out exactly where the bullet came from. You do that after. You save the patient first. And Trump wanted to do neither.
Own State Department said in 2018 there were insufficient controls to ensure that there was not a release of something very deadly and very detrimental.
So we sent money to shore that up, and Trump took it out. And he also got rid of the pandemic response team.
I got a call that night. I went on Tucker Carlson. Matt, this is your favorite president. And I was like, Reagan? He did not laugh. But within hours.
That's weird, because he seems like such a lighthearted, humorous dude.
President Trump canceled funding to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Oh, and the media, they went crazy. Oh, these are heroes, they told us on CBS's 60 Minutes program. Gaetz and Tucker Carlson and Trump, they've done a terrible thing to stop us from fighting the virus. Well, now that the truth starts to come out, we learn that there was no leaping of this virus through the pangolin, whatever that is.
No, they were developing a bioweapon. It got in the United States. Trump ignored it for 6 months. And even after they found this out, and after he was on this program where they canceled all that stuff, he still was engaged in the trade deal with the Chinese, and they still only lived up to a third of their promised purchases. And yet he, again, while American citizens were in food lines, he was selling a country that they believe manufactured COVID-19 and sent it here on purpose. I mean, just think about that idea for a second. They believe that the Chinese made it on purpose and sent it on purpose. Right? Understand that. I mean, that's a bioweapon attack, the largest bioweapon attack in U.S. history, killed 600,000 of our citizens, and Trump ignored it for months, Then when he believed this and they canceled all this and he listened to Matt on Tucker, they watched this April of last year. He still went through with this and in July was bragging about the largest sale of beef, corn, and soybeans in American history to the Chinese, while American citizens were in food lines. And we, by the way, were paying the farmers to grow this shit at the time. Billions of dollars. U.S. funds. I know it'll tell you got it from the tariffs. That's bullshit. U.S. funds. This is taxpayer dollars paying farmers to grow this stuff. They ended up selling it to China anyways. Even though they believe that China was behind the largest bioweapon attack in world history. And that it is ongoing. Yeah, as a bioweapon, it's not very good. But that was the point, was it wasn't really there to kill everybody. It was there to wreck the economy, is the idea. Trump got rid of the pandemic response team. And then 2 years later, we were hit by, according to them, the largest bioweapon attack in world history. We did not respond for months, and when Trump did get around to responding, he bitched a little bit in rallies late in the year and sold them a bunch of beef.
That the evidence seems to suggest precisely where this virus came from. And now we're learning that in the opening months of the Biden administration, they were taking action to eliminate that investigation, to stop our search for the truth.
Oh, were they? Where's that?
You know what?
Because they're still looking. So did they just go, let's not look? Oh, yeah, you know what? Let's look. Really? Is that how it worked?
Many Americans have died. Too much justice is required. Too much accounting from China is demanded. We are going to get the truth. The truth will prevail. And we're going to hold China and the Chinese Communist Party accountable for the death and destruction they brought our country and the world.
Yeah, and by hold them accountable, we mean another round of beef, corn, and soybeans. What? All the pork they can possibly buy from any red state.
And so in this great...
By the way, what's justice for a bioweapon attack that kills 600,000 Americans? I mean, honestly, if you're going to use his language, listen to how he's talking about this. By the way, we led up to it's time for Second Amendment solutions to our own government. P.S. We also need to attack them. If he's willing to have these folks in Georgia rise up and shoot elected representatives in our government because they don't like the fact that the ACA is still a thing. What are we doing? Strafe nuking China? Is that the idea? What the hell? What is this?
Great country that we love and fight for and serve.
That's except for half of the people who you'd like to shoot, apparently.
Why is it that it takes so long to get the right policies in place?
Because they're not the right policies and you keep trying to get the wrong policies and you're convinced they're the right policies, but they aren't?
To utilize some common sense.
Oh, I see. Speaking of Rudy.
The reason is that our government in the swamp of Washington is fundamentally corrupt.
Well, I mean, dude, you still sit on, you know, is he got some committees? I think he's still got a couple, right? He hasn't lost his committees yet.
Committee assignments are bought and sold.
Are they bought and sold? Are they? Well, then why don't you have one?
Lobbyists control how much power you have.
Okay, then which lobbyist for who? Because obviously it's not the same lobbyist, Dem to Republican. So which, just tell you, I don't expect you, I'm assuming you mean Twitter and Amazon are paying for the Democratic Party because black people, slave wage, immigrants coming across southern border, COVID pandemic, some nonsense. But since you seem to know everywhere you go, there's all this stuff going, this pay for play going on. Tell us about it. Who?
PACs control how much resource you have for your campaigns. Everyone is just worried about where they're going to be climbing up the ladder of a corrupt system.
You mean a hierarchical system where everybody earns it through merit and people who get reelected multiple times actually have more say than people who are short timers like yourself?
I love Donald Trump because he rejected that corrupt system. And
yeah, he didn't really lose. He just rejected the system.
you know what? After the art of the deal is the art of the comeback. And I think Donald Trump's coming back in 2024 to secure the presidency for our movement and our people and our great nation.
Cool. Well, you keep thinking that in high school gymnasiums all across this country. That's, by the way, just for the record, to any of the trolls that are watching, and that's not happening. It is not. Just mark my words. Nope. I mean, he'll act like it right up to the day, but he's not running again. Not happening. He'll milk as much money through his PAC as he possibly can. But when push comes to shove, not happening.
And if he doesn't?
He won't. He's not. Yeah.
Who knows?
That means he's running. That's the thing. He's trying. Basically, this is for all the whole like Trump loves Matt Gaetz, Matt Gaetz loves Trump. This is just him sniping Trump's audience. That's all this is. This is all him stealing his crowd. He and MTG are stealing the crowd, and both of them will try to run for president. And like that'd be the ticket. Me and MTG. Not happening.
But for our policies to be better, for our trade to be better, for our government to be more honest, for our borders to have integrity, first, our elections must have integrity, and we need your help to fix the problem right here in the state of Georgia.
And the problem, of course, is too many black people are voting.
What is going on in Fulton County? I mean, this is a red state.
What is the deal?
You are God.
Yeah, it's a red state with huge urban groups of black people who fucking hate people like you for good reason.
God-fearing, wonderful Americans, and I think that the 145,000 ballots that we're about to audit and review in Fulton County are going to tell one hell of a story. And
yes, they are. They're going to tell the story that Trump lost again.
you know what? We're going to push back against the Biden Justice Department if they try to do anything to interfere with that audit. Marjorie and I were just out in the state of Arizona, and there we've got that's going to cost the state of Arizona millions of dollars to replace the machines they had because they put them in the hands of people who were not accredited, violating state law. And therefore, those machines are forever tainted because there's no way they're going to check the millions of lines of code that run those things for any kind of malware that these assholes could have loaded into that shit at any given point. Like
Q-Snatch.
That's
it's
right.
a malware called Q-Snatch.
Right, which you can just kind of, all you need to do is have a little time alone with those machines.
Q-Snatch.
They'll do the work for you. But now they've had time alone with those machines.
It's a malware called Q-Snatch.
And now when they're going to like, hey, here's your machines back. Yeah, we're going to trust those.
got some patriots that want to get to the bottom of
they've come to the right place.
what happened in Maricopa County. And you know who's shaking in their boots?
Who's shaking in their boots? Nancy Sinatra. No. Shaking in their boots. Who's shaking in their boots? The big deep state. No. Not the deep state. He already said deep state. The Democrat machine. No. Socialists.
The Biden Justice Department.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I don't think that's true, but okay.
They were sending letters threatening people in Arizona to stop the audit, or they would bring a civil rights action against them.
Yeah, because they don't have the rights to the machines and the ballot information. They were going to go knock on people's doors and intimidate Democratic voters. That's a problem. That's part of what the Voting Rights Act initially was for, and that's part of H.R. 1.
I think the Biden Justice Department should be actually working to vindicate the civil rights and voting rights of our people, not fighting against them. Will you let them know that you will not be intimidated in the state of Georgia?
No, because these people have already written letters like that, and they just go. Another one from Gary in Fulton. I believe my vote was discharged illegally because other people were able to write in their votes, and I don't believe there are that many people around this neighborhood that have voted in such a manner that Trump lost. I was like, what? Signed, Gary. By the way, we're way. Let's see. Is he almost done? And there's times and ads, and then there's. Oh, here we go. I mean, it's the same shit. So let's jump ahead to Marjorie Taylor Greene because we don't need to watch all this shit.